I'd like to call the meeting to order at 7:30. But before we begin with the meeting, I have a message from the mayor that I'd like to read to everybody. I just wanted to let you know that due to the business commitment, I will be missing my first town meeting since 1995. I am at a leadership conference in New Hampshire, May through the 10th. I appreciate the hard work that the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Finance have put into our budgets. Each budget season is interesting and ever-changing. We have an opportunity to spread out our obligations, borrowing some money out from our ash landfill account to take care of several capital non-recurring projects that will benefit the town of Putnam. We have an obligation to fix and repair two bridges, both the Recreation Park Road Bridge and Woodstock Avenue bridges, which have to be updated or they will ultimately be closed to traffic. We also have a middle school parking lot that is in bad disrepair. It's been on our capital non-reoccurring list for the last several years, and it always gets cut prior to bringing our budget to the town of Putnam. Thinking creatively with the town administrator, Doug Cutler, while on a trip to Hartford, we came up with an idea of using some of the ash landfill money for capital projects, the same money we used to finance the middle school roof that we have now paid back. Assuming the entire project's cost into one budget season would have created a major impact on our mill rate, and it is likely these projects would have been put off and not done for another year. To me, that is an all too familiar scenario here in Putnam. We have the resources to use and the ability to get these projects out of the way, further protecting future increases in project costs and possible safety concerns. I ask your support of this budget. I believe that it will serve the people of Putnam very well. Sincerely, Mayor Pete Price. Okay. First order of business would be Sarah. Come take care of that for us, please.
Town of Putnam notice of annual town meeting, May 8, 2013. For electors and citizens qualified to vote in town meeting of the town of Putnam, Connecticut, I hereby notify and warn that an annual meeting of said town will be held in the Putnam Middle School Auditorium at 35 Wicker Street, Putnam, Connecticut, on Wednesday, the 8th day of May, 2013, at 7:30 in the evening for the following purposes. 1, to choose a moderator for said meeting. 2, to consider and act upon the recommendations of the Board of Finance that appropriation for general government, including bonded indebtedness, in the amount of $4,520,045, and the library in the amount of $447,979, for a total of $4,968,024, be made for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2013, and ending June 30th, 2014, and to make such appropriation as are advised of. 3, to consider and act upon the recommendations of the Board of Finance that appropriation for the Board of Education in the amount of $16,459,911 be made for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2013 and ending June 30th, 2014, and to make such appropriations as are advisable. To consider and act upon the recommendation of the Board of Finance that appropriation for Town Road 8 in the amount of $427,641 be made for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2013, and ending June 30th, 2014, and to make such appropriations as are advisable. 5, to consider and act upon the recommendation of the Board of Finance that appropriation for capital expenditures, school buses, in the amount of $178,500 be made for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2013, and ending June 30th, 2014, and to make such appropriations as are advisable. 6, to consider and act upon the recommendation of the Board of Finance that a capital appropriation in the amount of $928,000 be made for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2013, and ending June 30th, 2014, and to make such appropriations as are advisable. The $928,000 shall consist of A, $300,000 road reconstruction, B, $161,000 Recreation Park Road Bridge over Little River, C, $100,000 Quinnipiac Regional Technology Park development costs, planning, environmental, etc. D, $367,000 Putnam Middle School parking lot repaving and repair. 7, to consider and act upon the following resolution. Resolved that the Board of Selectmen acting as agents of the town of Putnam be authorized to apply for and receive any state and federal grants that may become available and appear to them to be in the best interest of the town of Putnam. 8, to determine the wishes of those present eligible to vote on the proposed 5-year capital improvement plan for the period commencing fiscal year July 1st, 2013 through the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2018. A copy of the proposed plans is in file in the mayor's office and is available for public inspection during normal business hours. 9, to authorize the town treasurer and board of finance to finance internally by borrowing from ash landfill account certain capital items, said borrowing for integrity loan not to exceed $928,000 for the term of not more than 10 years at an interest rate of at least 1%. This loan is to be amortized at least annually. The Board of Finance is authorized to approve the particulars of said loan and the precise interest rate subject to foregoing parameters. Dated by this 25th day of May 2013, Town of Putnam, Richard C. Place Mayor, Renee Lasco, Richard A. Loomis, Norman Sinay, Alan G. Maury, John Smith Jr., Owen A. Tarr, its Board of Selectmen, Tess Sarah Sinay, Town Clerk.
Thank you, Sarah. First order of business is to choose a moderator. I have a nomination and I have a second. Any motion? I would entertain a motion to close nominations. All in favor to close nominations, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. All those in favor of Bill Stanage being moderator for the meeting, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? And Bill, here you are.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Can you all hear me? Can you hear me back there? Very briefly, the parameters this evening, on each item we'll have a motion to accept, and then we will have discussion and possibly amendment. The two primary budget items are voted on by secret ballot as required by town ordinance. Anyone can vote who is either a registered voter of the town of Putnam or a United States citizen over the age of 18 and liable on the last completed grand list to the town of Putnam for an assessment of $1,000 or more. If you offer an amendment as to the general government budget, it has to be specific as to amount and which item you are cutting. If you would offer an amendment to the Board of Education budget, it has to be a bottom line number rather than a specific amount. Rather than a specific line item, because of the way the law works. Item 2, to consider and act upon a recommendation of the Board of Finance that appropriation for general government includes bond indebtedness in the amount of $4,520,045 and the library in the amount of $447,979 for a total of $4,968,024 be made for the fiscal year. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and second. We have discussion on the general government budget.
I'm like you, Bill. Probably I don't need this mic on, but I'll put it on anyways. Norman Sinay, 171 Elmwood Hill Road, Putnam, Connecticut. I would ask a couple questions, and whoever can answer them, answer them. On page 19 in the budget, there's town road aid in the amount of $427,641. And we have available for it. Under the 5-year capital plan, we're borrowing $300,000 for reconstruction of roads. That would give us a total amount that we could do for road repair, approximately $727,000, which is at least $300,000, $400,000 above what we've had done in previous years. My two-point question is, why aren't we using the town road aid money for the reconstruction? Question number 1. Question number 2 is, why are we borrowing $300,000 for road reconstruction when we already have town road aid in the amount of $127,000? I would like some answers to those two questions.
Question is made to the moderator, and we're going to look for a volunteer to answer the
Again, previously, whoa. Maybe I don't need it.
You do need it. You do need it for that.
Yeah, hold it down, not right next to your mouth. That's
Okay. In previous years, we have always used the town aid road funds that we received from the state of Connecticut to supplement, in addition to the $300,000 that we had always set aside for our major road repairs, whether it's recycling of the asphalt in roads or other types of things that we do to the roads on a year-in, year-out basis. So this year, the state of Connecticut, through the governor's budget, had greatly increased the amount of town aid road that is available to the towns, including the town of Putnam. So this year, we can, to a certain extent, we'll be able to use the town aid road to supplement, in addition to the $300,000 that is set aside in the 5-year capital plan.
That's a good answer, but if we're gonna spend $700,000 and double the amount we're spending on roads, where's the plan?
There is no, that's not in the intention of necessarily spending $700,000 in 1 year. The town aid road money is kept over from year to year, so you don't necessarily have to spend that full $427,000 in 1 year. You can keep that available to the town for when you have a major project. It's like setting aside in the capital plan for monies for when you really need to do a major reconstruction of the road. So the intention is not to spend the if you're counting the town aid road as one of the revenue sources, to the $300,000 that would be borrowed through the ash landfill account. That's not necessarily going to be spent in this given fiscal year starting July 1. As you know, there's a balance that was maintained over from last year, and we've done that in a considerable amount of times in the past, where we maintain a balance in the town aid road for an instance where we have a major road reconstruction project coming in the future.
That's great, but with today's business and the way things are, we got $427,000, and we're gonna borrow $300,000 more, and we have no plans or anything. I think that the $300,000 we can borrow, use the $300,000 out of 423, we'll still have another $127,000 down. We don't have to pay anything back. I just think that without planning, without any plans in front of us, I just can't see us borrowing $300,000 when we don't have no plan. It's not good business practice. If you had a plan in front of us that you were doing such and such a road for drainage, and this was the cost associated with this, and we increased our road construction projects in regards to that, then I could see it. But there's nothing in place that I've seen that would make this work.
We do have a plan in place, and I hate to put Jerry Rosalie on the spot, but the Public Works Director can explain to you what we're going to be spending the $300,000 on this year.
I don't mind spending the $300,000. I mind that we got $427,000. Jerry's done a good job on the roads, and he's been using approximately $300,000 every year to resurface the roads with different streets, all the sidewalks and everything else. That's not the case. The case is that we have $427,000 sitting there, and if we take the $300,000, we're still left with $127,000. We don't have to borrow the money. That's my question. I think it's poor planning. As far as the $300,000, Jerry does a great job with it.
One of the problems with that is that we typically have put $300,000 in the general government budget every year. So if you go and you do not borrow the money for the $300,000 this year, and you use almost a good portion of that town aid road money, you're going to find yourself quickly in a deficit situation where even in the future year where you want to spend $300,000, which we have been doing on a year-in, year-out basis, you're not going to have the town aid road money available for that, and it's going to have to come from other sources, which probably would be the taxes, or the work won't get done.
I guarantee you come back $300,000 next year. If you need the road money, I'm going to be the first one to stand up here and give you the $300,000. But I'm not going to. I would like to put an amendment to that to take that $300,000 out of the borrow pot and amend it to take the $300,000 out of that portion of the 5-year capital plan. And Can I make a motion in that?
Mr. Sinay, that's item 6, those appropriations, and we're on item 2, general government. I think your motion is in order, but I think we would take it up under item 6.
That's where I have a problem, because if we pass it tonight, if we pass item 1, the principal and interest on that portion of that thing is in the general operating budget on the debt retirement. So in order to do that, if we vote tonight on item number 1 and it's passed, that automatically sets us up that the 5-year capital plan appropriation of $928,000 doesn't have to be voted on, because we approved the issue in debt retirement.
I think what is, if I understand correctly, Bonnie, what would be in item 2 in terms of the money in item 6, if there was a $300,000 fund that was to be amortized over 10 years, then in item 1, for budget purposes, there should be $30,000 representing a 1-year portion of that, plus a interest of at 1%, which would be, I used to be able to do these things, I believe $300. So you're talking $30,000 out of the general government budget on that item.
Right, but I know where you're coming from, Bill.
Because we're not appropriating, as I understand it, under item number 2, the $300,000. That would come under item number 6. But you are correct, we're appropriating the 1-year payback and the interest. So you could make a motion to cut $30,300 if you wish.
Then I would make my motion on the
Item 6 to cut out the 300.
I'll make a motion that we reduce the debt retirement by $33,000 on the, I gotta look on the line item, because it's under that different line item. Debt retirement under page 11, item 5660 and 5661. Well, they're both tied together, Bill, so I would have to take 30,000 out of 5660 and 3,000 out of 5661. That'd be a correct statement?
Yeah, I think it's 3,300.
Yeah.
Right? 30,300.
Yeah.
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 Okay, that is the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded to reduce those specific items in the bonded indebtedness portion of the general government budget by $30,300. Now, under our rules, we can have regional discussion on that, but then that will require a secret ballot.
Peter Benoit, 117 Woodside Street, Putnam, Connecticut.
Turn on the mic, it's not working. They're not talking here yet.
It's a secret mic.
Are we here? Okay, we're here. I guess the question here is on the $427,000. It really is quite a bit in addition to the $300,000 we normally spend. By any chance, is this money going to be used for other than our normal wear and tear on our roads? For example, is anything going to be used in the tech park for road work? Because it seems awful funny to me to have $300,000 over the 4 or 5 years I've been on the Board of Finance, and all of a sudden we got an extra $427,000. So my question right now would be, where else would this money get spent besides our regular road work? Is some of this road work designated for the tech park area?
No, it is not.
None of it is.
No.
You answer my question.
Will you remark further on this item, Mr. Smith?
John Smith, 533, 5
Use the microphone, please.
I guess under the same first one, when you get down to 6, is $100,000 for the Quinnebog Regional Tech Park. We would be in the same conundrum as wanting to deduct what Mr. Sinay said.
What page?
On on number 6 of the call. The $100,000 for the Regional Tech Park. Would it also be affected by number 2?
Yes, it would, but at some point, we're gonna get to a de minimis amount.
Okay, well, my issue is, I'd like to know why we're spending $100,000 on the taxpayer money. This is money we're going to borrow on a tech park that's supposed to be regional. I don't hear of any other towns pitching in towards this, and we don't even own an acre of land over there yet. How are we spending money on something we don't own? We're way ahead of ourselves again, like we were at the beginning of this tech park. I don't believe we should use that $100,000 until we own some property over there and see what's going on. I'm asking the question, yes, why are we spending money on a piece that we don't own?
The question is, why are we spending $100,000 on land we don't own, I guess?
Because this is a proposal put forth by the Economic Development Commission in the best interest of development for the town of Putnam going out into future years, which will mean extensive job creation for the town of Putnam. It will also mean the expansion of our tax base on the industrial side for the town of Putnam. It also allows us to have a placeholder for any other grants that we would be able to apply for through the state of Connecticut. So even though we've set aside $100,000 in that account, that allows us to go forward to the state of Connecticut as we have done in the past. For instance, to get the almost $500,000 steep grant for the tech park project, and we also got a grant of about $200,000 for the feasibility study. So the Economic Development Commission has made a determination that we have to find a place to be able to expand for industrial purposes and for the purpose of providing new jobs in the town of Putnam, and also to expand our tax base in the town of Putnam. So the investment of $100,000 would be for that purpose. Knowing that we're going to have a partnership, the way it's stated now, the partnership will be between the town of Putnam, any other towns that join with us, the state of Connecticut as a partner, and the landowners as a partner in terms of going forward with actually producing the tech park on that land.
Could any of this money potentially be used for private land or the YMCA, this $100,000?
This money will be used in terms of the potential would be to negotiate with the private landowners. It will also be used to determine a subdivision and also the engineering that would be done to provide the utilities into the expansion of the tech park beyond the 62 acres, which is the Wheelwright property.
So we could potentially be using this $100,000 to put infrastructure on the private property.
The infrastructure, it's contemplated that the infrastructure would be provided, or the land that we would need for the infrastructure would be provided to the town of Putnam.
Any of this could possibly be the YMCA also?
No. Any costs associated with YMCA would be apportioned to the YMCA, so it wouldn't come out of this $100,000.
Okay, thank you.
The item is the proposal to cut this item by $30,300. If there's not further discussion, I will call a vote on it. Mr. Sinay?
Yeah, it just, I question the 100,000 because it says grants. If it's a grant, why are we borrowing 100,000? If any place where it says grants, we usually don't borrow the money, it's just put in the budget. So if it's listed as grants, then why are we borrowing money if it says grants? It says, basically, if you look at it, any place there's grants, it says, you know, for that particular purpose, for the 100,000, it says general government / grants. If it's a grant, then why are we borrowing money? And if it's not listed as a grant, why wasn't it? And why wasn't we made available?
And as we have in the past, when we put the 5-year capital plan together, we try to determine where that money is going to be coming from. In this case, it could be the general government. In this case, it also allows us to have the opportunity to apply for any grants that might be available on the state or the federal level. So when we put together the 5-year capital plan, what we do in terms of identifying all those things, there's a potential that it's going to be general government funding, or there's a potential that it also could be funding through grants.
I just can't see $100,000 with no plan, and it's listed as a grant.
Will you remark further on this item? Hearing no further discussion on this item, I'm afraid we're constrained to vote by secret ballot. Those in favor of cutting the item by $30,300 will vote yes. Those opposed to Mr. Sinet's motion will vote no. If you could come forward in this aisle here, we're going to have the ballots in the ballot box. Sarah will need 47 seconds to set up, and then we will commence the voting. Ladies and gentlemen, the vote on the First Amendment is 25 yes, 53 no. I declare the amendment defeated. We will return to discussion of item 2, the general government budget. Will you remark further on the general government budget? Mr.
I'd
Valtrano.
like to call question on number 2.
Motion has been made to move the question on item 2. Is there a second? This is a motion to close debate. It requires a 2/3 vote. All those in favor of proceeding to an immediate vote on item 2, the usual sign aye. Aye. Opposed? In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. Would anyone like a division? Hearing none, we will call a vote. We will follow exactly the same procedure. Those in favor of approving the budget as presented for general government will vote yes. Those opposed will vote no. Ladies and gentlemen, the vote on the general government budget was in the affirmative 67, in the negative 5. I declare the general government budget adopted. The next item is item 3, the Board of Education budget.
There we go, Bill. Quick minute.
In the amount of $16,459,911. May I have a motion on the Board of Education budget?
So moved.
Motion made and second. I would like to announce that this item requires a secret ballot, and then the rest of the items we've traditionally taken up by voice vote. So I don't want to discourage anyone. This would be the last secret ballot item. Is there any discussion on the general government budget?
Education.
I'm sorry. Obviously, I need more education. Is there any discussion? Oh, Barney, that's why I come.
No, I think that it's a good budget. I think they did a heck of a job on the school board budget. They were honest with their figures and they came in with a very good budget. I want to congratulate the Board of Education and Mr. Hall for a good job.
Barney, you're starting to make me nervous. Praise the Board of Education. I may proceed directly to a call of the vote. Is there anyone who wishes to speak on the Board of Education budget? Well, we won't even need that because I'm going to call the vote.
Joe Hopkins, 150 Onion Road.
Yes, sir.
I'd just like to say, this group of people on this board have done wonders, as Barney was saying. Over the years, this group has done a wonderful job. We should all be very appreciative of their work.
For the record, this is Putnam, Connecticut, and I will call the vote on the... Yes is in the affirmative, no is in the negative.
team has come up with new numbers, and the Board of Education budget is approved 67-4. I declare the budget adopted. Item 4 is to appropriate $427,641 for town aid roads. May I have a motion, please? Motion made and seconded. Is there a discussion on town aid roads, item 4? Hearing none and not requiring a secret ballot, all those in favor of the usual sign aye. Aye. Opposed? In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it and so voted. Item 5, to consider upon recommendations of the Board of Finance that the sum of $178,500 be appropriated for school buses. May I have a motion, please? Motion made and seconded. Is there discussion on school buses? Hearing none. All those in favor of the adoption of item 5, the usual sign aye. Aye. Opposed? I declare item 5 adopted. Item 6 is to appropriate for capital appropriations a sum of $928,000. May I have a motion, please? Motion made and seconded. Is there a discussion on item 6?
Question on that. One question on that. As far as borrowing the money, there was a resolution initially on the Ash landfill about the percentage, anything over 2.1, and then there was another amendment to the resolution on the Ash landfill that we had 3%, and then there was another resolution, amendment to the resolution, where they gave the Board of Finance the approval to borrow the money on the third amendment to the resolution. Is that going to be a problem tonight? Because there was a resolution, prior resolutions that were amended in regards to the Ash landfill closure account, moving money around?
No, that one will be taken up separately on item 9 for the specific authorization.
Okay.
For this specific amount of money. All those in favor of the adoption of item number 6, the usual sign aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Item 6 is adopted. Item 7, consider and act upon the following resolution. Resolved that the Board of Selectmen acting as agents of the town of Putnam be authorized to apply for and receive any state and federal grants that may become available and appear to them to be in the best interest of the town of Putnam. May I have a motion, please? Motion made and seconded. Is there any discussion on this item 7? Hearing none. All those in favor of adoption, the usual sign aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Item 7 is adopted. Item 8, to determine the wishes of those present and eligible to vote upon the 5-year capital improvement plan for a period commencing fiscal year July 1st, 2013 and ending June 30th, 2018. I will take a motion on that, please. Motion made and seconded on the capital plan. Just so you all know, this is not an appropriation, this is a 5-year plan for planning purposes. Hearing no discussion, all those in favor, the usual sign aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it and so voted. Item 9, to authorize the town treasurer and Board of Finance to finance internally by borrowing from the Ash landfill account certain capital items that borrowing or interagency loan not to exceed $928,000 for a term of not more than 10 years at an interest rate of at least 1%. This loan to be amortized at least annually. The Board of Finance is authorized to approve the particulars of said loan and the precise interest rate subject to the foregoing parameters. May I have a motion, please? Motion made and seconded. Is there a discussion on item 9?
Peter Benoit, 117 Woodside Street. Question pertains to the interest rate of at least 1%. I thought it was at 1% and not at least 1%. Can you clarify that? Because that has a connotation of increase in the rate at some point in time.
The way the motion is drafted, it is a minimum of 1%, and the rate is to be set by the Board of Finance. I would assume that they would set a rate for the full 10 years that will not be less than 1%. The motion is subject to amendment should you choose to do so.
Well, that's the only question I had. It should word itself at a rate of 1%, and that leaves all the questions away from this.
Okay, is that an amendment, sir?
Yes, sir.
There's an amendment to freeze the rate at 1%. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. I think that's an amendment, you know. Yes, Mark?
No, on that question about the resolution, in regards to amending the original resolution to the ash landfill, are we circumventing that resolution by voting on this item tonight?
I think that, Barney, I don't believe so, but obviously I do not have that resolution in front of me. This is specific to this $928,000. This is the legislative body acting specifically on this $928,000 to be borrowed from the ash landfill.
And it was acted upon the legislative body, the resolution itself, and then the two amendments were acted on a legislative body and to borrow the money. That's why I'm saying it should read the same thing it should be a resolution to amend, the original resolution for the landfill, and then the 3%, then to borrow the money, and then it be resolved that it's amended again I think to clear up the issue.
I think we can do this. I think I will call a vote on the 1% amendment, and then you're going to offer a second amendment saying notwithstanding any other previous limitations, these limitations will apply to this borrowing.
Of the third resolution, I'll give you the resolution if you want to read it, though.
Do you agree that that will clean it up? So I think the motion before us now is to set the rate at 1%. And it's an amendment to the pending motion. All those in favor of setting the rate at 1%, the usual sign aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it, and so voted. Now, Mr. Sinead, if you want to offer a motion that this rate will apply, notwithstanding any previous rate set for the ash landfill fund?
No, I would like to say that the resolution to the original ash landfill account amended the first amendment, the second amendment, that we add a third amendment to that resolution to allow the money to be borrowed from that account with the finance board setting the rates as we discussed tonight. I think that would clean it up because we got a resolution before.
I don't know what he's talking about. I have no idea what he's talking about.
Back in 2002, when the ash landfill account was stopped at $2.1 million, by a resolution, it was voted at a town meeting, that anything over $2.1 million would be set up in a special ash landfill account, closed account. In 2004, that was amended again through a town meeting, where it was amended that 3%, anything over 2.1, 3% would be added to that annually to go into the general operating budget. It was again amended again in 2009 or 2010 to borrow for the school roof. And it specifically stated in the amendment that the money is to be borrowed from the ash landfill account and that the money would be paid back with the interest rate and everything else. And that's why I asked that question.
I think that was a specific authorization to borrow for the school roof. This is a specific authorization to borrow for this $928,000 capital at a new interest rate, because I think the interest rates have moved significantly between 2009 and...
Fine.
Okay.
That's no problem. Thank you, Bill.
Okay. If there's not further discussion on this item, all those in favor of adoption of the item 9 as amended, the usual sign aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it, and so voted. Bear with me for a minute, Sarah, if we hit all 9 items. I would entertain a grateful motion to adjourn. Second. All those